I'm Karthik Sharma, Associate Editor in Elets Technomedia, and I welcome all of you to the special segment by Elets Technomedia, which is Innovation Talk, where we invite industry leaders to talk about the innovations, the initiatives, and the exemplary work which they are doing and contributing in the growth and development of the country, and also in the growth and development of the technology industry as a whole. And in every next interview of our innovation talk, we try to get you the leaders from various different stratas of the industry. But here today, you will all be very happy to see our guest for today's innovation talk. And I'm very happy to welcome Iravati Damle, who is Director of Government Affairs for Zoom in India. Welcome, Iravati.
Thank you so much, Karthik. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, Iravati. And our audience will be very happy to watch the interaction of somebody from Zoom, which most of them use often in their lives daily. And to know about this software, this solution from the person from Zoom itself, it is a great opportunity, and I think a great time for our audience to watch the interaction with you. So Iravati, I would like to ask you first that you have a great experience of working in innovations, in tech innovations, in various other organizations in past also. And I would just like to ask you that how have been your experience with Zoom since the time you have joined this organization? How exciting, or what, if you just like to share your experience with Zoom?
No, absolutely. Thanks so much for that question. It's been incredibly exciting, and it's been such a great time to be a part of Zoom, because in what has been a difficult year for the whole world, Zoom has really served as a connective tissue to bring together a disconnected world and in this difficult time. And there's just so much good that has happened because of the power of this platform, and we see so many unique use cases that have come up in India, across rural India, in our cities, through this platform, that it's incredible to see the power of the platform and what a force of good it can be. It's also interesting to be in the policy space at the moment, because, as you know, there's just so much innovation happening, and the government is looking at so many tech policy issues at this time. So being a part of Zoom and being an advocate for regulation in this sector has just been an absolutely incredible experience. I wouldn't do it anywhere else but Zoom.
Exactly. I think it's a right time to work with Zoom. A lot to do in terms of innovations with a solution like Zoom. And I would also like to ask you, Ravati, that you are looking after government affairs with Zoom. And today, if we see that governments, whether central government or governments in states or the local self-governments, they all are facing challenging times. They have to do a lot of how the governments are into saving lives of people in this pandemic time, and at the same time there's a lot of virtual meetings, there's a huge need of connecting with each other, staying away but still connecting with each other, and saving lives, and helping the society. So there's a huge need of connecting to each other virtually in government sector. How do you see the role of Zoom supporting this cause of government, how to help government in connecting in this scenario?
No, absolutely. I think you've hit it spot on that suddenly governments have had to do a lot of things in terms of public welfare, social welfare programs, COVID management that they would otherwise have done in person through virtual platforms. And I'm very happy to share that Zoom has actually been a part of a lot of these efforts across states. There are a lot of state governments that have adopted our platform to use for COVID coordination, whether it is to run teleconsultations for patients who are in home isolation, whether it is to do their internal coordination work on COVID management. So we've been a part of a lot of these conversations. In fact, we continue to engage with different government authorities to make sure that they know that our platform is here to support them in the very, very important work that they're doing at this difficult time. And we're happy to play a small part in facilitating these connections and making this work a little bit easier.
Right, Ravati. There was last year there was some government advisory released on Zoom, and there were things going around. So you have been in constant communication. I'm sure Zoom might have been in constant communication with government since that time. How do you see that the impact of that, and how do you deal with it, and how do you see the scenario now?
Yeah, absolutely. So just going back a little bit, last year, what happened was there were a couple of advisories that were released by Certain on our platform. And Certain, as you know, releases advisories regarding different applications and software and the vulnerabilities in softwares and their prevention. So similarly, CERT had released an advisory about Zoom, which identified certain vulnerabilities. But I'd also like to point out that the same advisory actually addressed how to prevent these vulnerabilities, which was to update the app. So we had already fixed some of those issues, but be that as it may, we extensively engage with governments across departments. We've been engaging constantly with MeitY, MHA, and other departments to inform them of all of the security practices that we have, all of the updates that we have carried out on our platform, the advanced features that are deployed on our platform, making it among the most secure communications platforms that there is. And the feedback that we've got from government is, in fact, extremely positive. The government has been extremely appreciative of our focus on security and privacy. They've been appreciative of the work that we have done to address the issues that were there. And I'm very happy to share that, in fact, the government of India has shared a recommendation that government departments can use our platform for internal engagement. So we're increasingly now going to see more adoption of our platform across departments, across states, and we're already actually seeing that.
Right. So I think not only with Zoom, with various other apps, there's always a talk of privacy and security. Even government keeps checking about these issues. So one of it is how you enable the end-to-end encryption. So I would just like to know from more from you in terms of privacy and security, and how do you enable the end-to-end encryption? If you just tell me about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we launched end-to-end encryption last year in October, and we launched it for all our users, free and paid globally. Our end-to-end encryption technology uses public key cryptography, which means that whenever a Zoom meeting is starting, the keys to the meeting reside in the participants' systems and not on the Zoom servers, which means that when encrypted data is flowing from one person to another, since Zoom doesn't have the keys to decrypt that information is completely secure and completely with the two users. So this is, as you know, among the most secure communications technologies that there is. And we're very happy that we have been at the cutting edge of this in launching this for all of our users across the world, and just keeping our commitment to keeping the security of our users and privacy of the users just front and center always.
Right. So also there's always a talk about data, that where the data goes, how the data gets stored. So I just want clarity from you that what is the kind of data that Zoom stores, and how the data is managed.
Absolutely. So we are based on a framework of data minimization. We don't collect a lot of data from our users, and as you know, most of the data that goes over in Zoom meetings is data in transit, which is not stored. It basically terminates at the end of any Zoom meeting. The data that we collect is extremely minimal. We have an extremely easy to understand and transparent privacy policy that I can share with you right after our conversation, where users can basically understand exactly what kinds of data are collected and what are they used for. What I'd like to point out is we don't share any user data with advertisers. We don't scrape any user data. So again, that's consistent with our commitment to privacy. And I think what is notable is we also don't restrict access of users to the application, subject to them sharing their consent to sharing the data. So I think that's something that we are very clear about, that we minimize the data that we collect, and we don't share it with social media companies or advertisers. So the data of users is entirely secure, and we are extremely transparent about what we do with the data.
That's great. So I would just like to know from you that as you also said, the government is opening up quite well and working with Zoom in a lot of various initiatives. So I just want to like to know from you that what kind of departments and what kind of states, if you just can tell me that are working with Zoom and what kind of work is happening, if you just can elaborate more on that.
For sure, and again, like I said, the use cases are so unique and different, right? So we have the BMC in Mumbai, which has deployed Zoom since last year and deployed it at a large scale for their education initiatives. We have several states which are doing monitoring of COVID home isolation patients through their platform. Not just in India. In India, we are seeing a lot of high profile government events also happen on the Zoom platform, whether it's the Solar Summit or many other events that have happened. But interestingly, I'll also point out that the Prime Minister's questions in the UK, probably for the first time in history, were conducted on the Zoom platform last year. President Biden's swearing in ceremony happened on the Zoom platform. So there's just extremely unique use cases that we are seeing that have come up across the world, across governments, and we're very happy that the Indian government has also been adopting different uses of the platform quickly.
Right. I would like to know, from you that I think Zoom has also uh, uh, went in to the rural milestone also, and I think government works a lot in rural areas. They have to connect to the people to the last mile, or some government employee working at the last mile, and he can connect to the higher authorities. So what is there in the Zoom that it helps uh, government or common man to in rural areas also it facilitates, and how it helps government to reach to the last mile where a lot of things don't reach. So what is there in Zoom to work on that?
That's a great question, and that the answer to that is in the tech innovation that Zoom has enabled. In that our platform, which is a unified communication platform, which is video first, it operates extremely well in low bandwidth environments, and which makes it extremely well suited to rural areas where the connection might be patchy, the network might be sparse. And so, which is why, I mean, you'd be able to operate video and audio on Zoom in a remote corner in the country. And I don't know if I can say that about any other application, because it has been built to work really well in low bandwidth environments with average to poor connectivity. So that is what makes Zoom uniquely suited to our rural setup as well.
Right. So Iravati, video is making strides in all aspects of life. How do you see video, in next coming years? What is the future of video? If you can tell me
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
views.
Yeah, absolutely. So video has become an integral part of communication now, and that is how it is likely to be in a hybrid work environment that the world will head to even after 2021. video communication is just going to remain the centerpiece of collaboration. It just enables better collaboration. And when you have good quality video, like you have on Zoom, it just makes the people-to-people connections possible. It makes them real, and it's something that I think the world will not turn back from now that the power has been introduced by Zoom and other platforms.
Yes, that's right. I'll also ask you lastly that how do you see Zoom catering to the government sector in coming years and in future? How do you want to innovate more and customize Zoom more for government clients? What is your strategy?
Absolutely. So I think that we see Zoom's offerings as a very strong contributor to the whole Digital India mission that the government has come out with, in that Zoom can enable that connectivity with the last person in the queue across the country. So we see actually Zoom being a vehicle for delivery of social welfare programs, for education and advocacy, for awareness about the programs that the government has, and also for use within government for interdepartmental coordination in a country that is so widely dispersed across states, and so widely dispersed in terms of resources. We actually see Zoom as being that connective tissue and enabling some of these connections, and enabling the delivery of these programs.
Uh, there are two sectors, health and education.
Mm.
Majorly, government has a great role to play in both these sectors. They have transformed with this pandemic, going digital, and maybe even after this pandemic, it will be not less than hybrid.
Mm.
Digital will always be there. If health, you see the telemedicine has picked up. People were trying for many years, but now it has picked up because it has become the need of hour. And at the same time, in education, the real digital learning, the real smart learning has started now. So, do you see Zoom can work with government in these two major sectors in terms of having digital innovations?
Absolutely. And like I said, some of these use cases have already come up in last year and this year. BMC has deployed Zoom in their virtual classrooms. We are also working with Teach for India, which is reaching underprivileged children and enabling education through platforms like Zoom. On telehealth, we see a lot of teleconsultations and awareness programs happening on the platform. And in fact, education and healthcare are two very strong sectors in which the use of our platform has been extremely prominent in India. So we definitely see that Zoom can be that vehicle for ensuring that the government is able to deliver its programs in education and healthcare to people across the country, and we're working towards those partnerships.
Okay. Lastly, what is your favorite aspect of Zoom?
I just love that it works. You don't
Okay.
have to worry about you don't have to worry about the connectivity. You don't have to worry about the uh, audio. You don't have to worry about the video not working well. I think Zoom just works, and it is the seamlessness of its use and the ease of use that makes it a platform of choice for everyone. It's just extremely intuitive, and it's you don't need to train anyone to understand what controls and functions are there, right? It's just extremely easy. So that's what I really like about Zoom.
I think similar thoughts are for me for this because it's so easy
Yeah,
and so easily. I don't have to bother about internet issues at least. That it works in mobile data, Wi-Fi, anywhere.
yeah,
So that's the I think it's personally it's my view.
yeah.
Personally, I'm a little biased for Zoom. So it is actually a great product, and I think leaders like you, Iravati, we have been watching you. From years in various organizations. And I think you're joining Zoom and you're working with Zoom will definitely add on to the organization and also to the industry as a whole. And we look forward, as all we do always, expect from you for more innovations. And you have working on a in a very good space to do more and more innovations. And we wish you all the best, Iravati. And thank you so much.
Thank you so
Uh,
much, Karthik.
for stuff.
It's such a pleasure to be speaking with you and working with you again, and look forward to speaking soon.
Thank you, Iravati.